So, what do you do? It can often feel like the million-dollar question, right? If only we were able to answer that question in a way that is succinct and powerful, all our problems will be solved. Well, maybe not. Now, what I just want to say here is I think there's a misconception that when you come to work on your messaging or writing up these kind of things for your business, that you're trying to find the singular perfect sentence that you can regurgitate every single time somebody asks you that question of what do you do? And you will reel off probably a sentence that starts with, well, I help, and then fill in the blanks there. But the thing is with describing what it is that you do, one singular sentence just ain't gonna cut it, because you are going to be asked that question in a variety of different circumstances by different people, where one singular sentence would not be fit for all of those scenarios. So for example, if somebody, a stranger down the pub, asks you that question, well, you don't know what their level of knowledge is, so you want to be able to give them a response that, gives enough information about what it is without going too heavy into the details or too conceptual. However, if you are speaking to somebody that you know is an ideal client, that is familiar with what it is that you actually already do, then you want to be able to give a response which is more detailed and in depth and captures the heart and captures the emotion of what it is that you actually do, because that's much more persuasive than giving some very basic ass answer. So the way that I like to approach this whole concept of, how do we really define what it is that we do? I want you to have multiple different versions of that answer. I want you to have a version that pretty much does what it says on the tin, the version that very much spells out logically what it is that you do. But I also want you to have a version or versions that get way more specific into what you and your brand does. So for example, if you were a brand photographer, say, your basic ass version is essentially going to be something like, oh, I take pictures of people for their business, right? That's what a brand photographer does. However, we also want to have a version that's like, oh, I capture these kind of images for these kind of people in this kind of way, and this is what makes it different from everybody else. So when you're thinking about how to answer the question of what do I do? Don't limit yourself to thinking that you have to just come up with one perfect sentence. Instead, give yourself a selection of different ways that you can express what it is that you do depending on the scenario. And of course, like I say with everything, take messy action and test it out. Actually share it with people, see what the response is, see which ones elicit oh, that sounds interesting, can you tell me more about it? And which ones get the response of, wow, that sounds cool. Because remember, your brand message is a living, breathing thing. It is not about words that simply sound good on paper. It's about words and descriptions and ways of communicating that truly convey meaning and get your people excited to work with you. And if you didn't know, I've got an 8-week program called Project Clarity, which is a hybrid of self-study where you go away and create your message, and one-to-one sessions with me where we actually refine it together. I give you direct feedback and you get my eyes on your work. You can find out all the information about that via my website, storybydesign.co, and I'll drop a link below this video as well so you can navigate directly there if you know working on your message is something that you need help with. And we very much start with answering that question of, so what do you do?